management, get the bridge between school and getting out into the field. So nowadays, through YouTube, through the social media, through, you know, putting yourself out there where you can get a lot of visibility. We didn't have that possibility when I was getting out of Juilliard. In 1979, I graduated. But nowadays, young singers do have that, and they should take advantage of it.
Certainly what we're trying to, with Vox, is to kind of engender that entrepreneurial spirit, which I think is what you need now as a young singer. You need to be able to be prepared to put yourself out there, and there are all these opportunities to do that, as you say. And
there are. You have to be
your
careful.
Own.
You have to be careful, though, because as I've always said, you know, nobody can remember what they haven't heard or haven't seen.
Sure.
You know, if you're not feeling well, don't go to that audition. Don't show yourself unless you're showing yourself at your best. Be prepared. Preparation is really, when you have to have a lot of respect for the music. You have to really, whatever you do, you have to be very prepared. You have to learn. You have to work on your technique. But don't go to an audition if you're not feeling vocally. I'm not talking about, oh my God, I'm not in the mood to do this. Oh my God, I'm scared. I'm talking about, I feel like I have a cold and my voice has a lot of phlegm in it, and my throat hurts. Don't do the audition.
Exactly.
You know, be honest with your health. And if you do have to do an audition or something important, you know, you go to bed early the night before. You don't go out drinking with your friends. You know, you have to take care of if you have a Stradivarius, you don't leave it out in the rain. You know, you have to take care of yourself and your instrument. You know, we are a Stradivarius, right? But having said that, you know, everyone's going to have good performances and bad performances. There's always room for improvement. The times where you just walk off the stage and say, yes, I really nailed it, are probably going to be fewer than you hope. But even if you have a bad performance, it's not the end of your career. I had a bad Traviata in San Francisco at the San Francisco Opera. In 1987, I thought it was the end of my career. I thought it was the end of my life at the time, you know. I was like, oh my God, you know, you screw up your first act aria and you think, that's the end. No one will ever hire me again. And I'd done it successfully before I got to San Francisco. But then I got to San Francisco and I had probably the worst and the only really horrific case of stage fright in my whole life. I just got out on the stage and I thought, oh my God, I'm just going to go right down through the floor. You know, I just wanted to get swallowed up. And I did something stupid like drink a glass of water. You know, when everybody's leaving the party and you're going, you're leaving and you think, oh my God, I've got my big aria coming up. So there was a little glass of champagne, you know, Violetta's party, and I took a swig and it went down the wrong way, and that was it. I was like, ugh.
I was going to ask you, you know, what's been your best experience and your worst, and I think that you've just covered that one.
Worst.
So what would you say is the most exciting experience that you've had? Would that have been your first Mimi with Pavarotti or Madison Square Gardens?
No,
or
you know, I've had some...
what about being in The Godfather, the film? My God, how exciting is that?
Well, that was exciting. Francis Ford Coppola was a lovely, lovely man. And he and his whole family, they were like, you know, the Italian family. His mother was running around trying to write an Italian cookbook at the time. I mean, it was, and his father, Carmine, was there on the set. He was the conductor for the score. It was a very exciting thing.
A Cavalleria, I mean, it goes through the whole film. I've always wondered who that was, and now I've met her.
Who?
Well, you on stage.
Oh,
with
me?
Yes.
I think people would I'm only like in the last 5 minutes.
No, but the
movie.
singing it's such a good... Every time I've seen that film, I've thought, that singing's amazing. Who is it? Now I know. So that's really...
Thank you. No, that was exciting. I mean, yeah, I've had some very fun and exciting moments. I mean, being an opera singer is a lot of fun. I mean, you have to admit, you get to travel. I used to read a lot of Le Carré, so I always fancied myself as the opera singer spy. You know, you get to go at that time there was still the wall, the Iron Curtain and all that. So I sang in countries where, the wall was still up. I was even in Berlin. I sang quite frequently in Berlin in the 80s. And then I saw that movie, La Vita degli Altri, I don't know what it's called in English, with Sebastian Koch or whatever his name is. He's incredibly handsome. And it talked about, people were spying on their neighbors and everything during that period. And I thought, oh my God, that was going on while I was there. I was clueless. But one of the funniest experiences I ever had was singing in Manchester with the Halley Orchestra. I got called in. I got flown in at the very last minute because Joe Gomez had canceled.
Oh, right, okay.
And they were doing the Chant d'Auvergne, and I had the conducter was Pascal Tortelier.
Oh, wow.
And I had done the same program with him in another place, in Manchester probably. I'd done it someplace else with him. And he called me in at the last moment. And they flew me to the airport, and it was a summer day, and I was on my way to play golf with my husband when they called me. So I just basically raced to the airport, and I had to take a flight from Milan to Zurich, and then from Zurich to Manchester. And I realized I hadn't eaten. So I asked the steward, they gave me those little bite-sized meals, and, we opera singers, we need sustenance before we sing. So I asked for a second meal on the plane, and the steward looked at me as if I was, like a crazy person. But he did acquiesce, and he gave me a second meal. And I said, well, I'm an opera singer, and I have a concert to sing. And he looked at me like, well, I've heard this is a bunch of malarkey. I've heard better stories than this. This is pretty inventive, though. But then about a half an hour later, he came back. He said, are you Miss Reneé? And I said, yes. He said, there'll be a helicopter waiting for you at the airport, and they will be taking you directly to the concert hall. And I said, yes, fine. I got, flown into the parking lot in the middle of the concert because they had to shift the Berlioz to the first part, the Symphonie Fantastique, and the Chant d'Auvergne were now in the second part. And I got dropped into the parking lot, ran into the dressing room, changed, and got out on the stage, and I felt like James Bond. And,
oh, wow, you're parachuted in.
Where else would you get an experience like that?
How wonderful.
Opera singer.
How do you feel about, passing on your extensive knowledge now? Do you teach or,
I have a lot of young singers that come to me, and I listen to them. I'm always available. My door's always open. I don't teach on a regular basis because my life is not structured in such a way that I could guarantee every Wednesday, every Tuesday, whatever.
Sure.
I have one student who's he's very young. He had some voice problems. He's 13, almost 14 now. And usually I don't take children. I never take children. But he's so passionate about his singing. And he had some problems with hoarseness all the time. So I said to his mother, and he loves to sing, I said to his mother, if you take him to a doctor, have his cords looked at, and I sent her to the doctor who I trust, and he says that he can study, I will work with him. And I have been working with this child. He had a start of a node or something on his cord. What I did was I got his voice out of his throat, got it more connected to his breathing, and got him to use the resonance in his face, got his voice basically from aggredire le corde vocali, from thrashing his vocal cords together. I got him to think more about, and I've been working with him for a year, and his voice hasn't changed yet. But his first octave has gotten very solid. He doesn't have any hoarseness left in his voice. And when he sings, he's got huge amount of volume for a young person. And his first octave is very solid. And in voice, I think it's important to work note by note and get everything in the right place.
So you really build the voice.
You build your voice. There are people that have natural voices,
sure,
and everything is all there.
Yeah.
You just need to sort of, keep it in the right place.
I agree.
But I think those people are few and far between. Most people have to build their voice. I remember Mirella Freni building her voice. I don't know why. Talking about voices, I'm having a hoarse moment myself. But most singers have to work very hard to work on their passaggio. I'm sure you did too. And to access all areas of their voice.
Sure. And that takes time and patience, which is
takes a lot of time.
Going back to what we said before, what you said, and just really having the patience and the time to build that, and not trying to push your voice too far too soon. And
well, not push your voice also far too soon, but you use the word push your voice. Anytime a singer does something that's uncomfortable, or they walk out of a voice lesson and they're hoarse, or they have no voice left, that's not good.
Yeah, I agree.
You shouldn't be experiencing, in my view, any kind of pain when you sing. And if you do something and you feel like you've stretched your voice too much, I mean, ideally you walk out of your voice lesson and you should feel healthy and wonderful and feel like you can sing for another hour. It's true that when you're learning new repertoire, sometimes your voice gets tired. But then you just stop singing for a bit.
And that's a different
thing.
thing.
Try again. That's a different thing. But you also have to listen to your inner voice, too. If somebody, suppose you go to a really famous voice teacher. My first year at Juilliard, I was studying with Eleanor Stieber. She was one of the greatest American sopranos. She sang at the Metropolitan Opera. She was a legend. She even sang 2 operas in one day, a matinee, and then in the evening she sang Fanciulla del West. She was like killer good. And after my first year at Juilliard, I just wasn't happy with her, and I wanted to change teachers. And she said to me, if you change teachers, I'm going to have you kicked out of the school. And I went, whoa. And I changed teachers. I didn't get kicked out. But the new teacher I found, his name was Orrin Brown, had a much more natural approach to singing that was better for my voice, because every singer is different. There is not one teacher that's right for all singers.
Thank you for saying that, Madelyn, because I think a lot of people set themselves up as gurus and the teacher, and everybody wants to rush to the new magician in town. And often that's not right. They may have great success with lots of students, but it's what you say. It's about finding what's absolutely right for you. And that may be...
Well, we're definitely on the same
we are. I can't
there.
believe it's fantastic.
Because first of all these magical teachers, first of all, they don't work for everybody. You have to find somebody that works for you. It's a meeting of the two people. It's not just the teacher that's good, the student that's good. You have to find the right teacher, somebody that you feel good about. And the best teachers are not always singers themselves. The best teacher that I have ever worked with was not a singer, he was a conductor. It's my teacher now. His name is Paolo Vaglieri, and he was Carlo Maria Giulini's assistant for 20 years. It's finding the right language also to communicate, because sometimes so much of singing is visual.